"I don't know, George," I said. "Other than I happen to like your hotel. Why? Am I on the banned list here?" Then we were standing face to face. He smiled, extending his hand, and said, "Whatever happened to us, Billy?" The way he said this momentarily caught me by surprise. "What happened, George, was I could never understand why you fired Lou the way you did," I finally said. "And then on top of that, you tried to tell me he was stealing from you." "Oh, that was all a big mistake," he said. "I know I was wrong. The biggest mistake I ever made was letting Lou go. He knows how much I think of him." After that chance meeting at his hotel, we gradually began to repair our relationship. On March 1st, 1993, he was reinstated to baseball. I would like to say that his 29 months of exile had made him a more humble, softer person, but that wasn't exactly the case. Even as the Yankees, with the additions of Paul O'Neill, Tino Martinez, Jimmy Key, David Cohn, and Wade Boggs, and the development of players such as Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, and Mariano Rivera, evolved into another championship team for him, he continued to butt heads with his underlings and fellow owners, and I was most often right in the middle of it. It wasn't until July 2005, when I wrote a story titled Life with George for a special section in the Daily News commemorating Steinbrenner's 75th birthday, that I first began thinking about doing a book on him. For years, there had been periodic reports in the New York gossip columns that Steinbrenner was preparing to write his autobiography. But it never came to pass, and now, midway through his 8th decade, his health had begun to fail, and it had become apparent that he was no longer capable of writing his own life story. Over the years, Steinbrenner had successfully thwarted the attempts of freelance writers to write his biography simply by telling friends, associates, and Yankee employees, past and present, that to cooperate would be at their own peril. But one night in 2005, over dinner at Elaine's, Steinbrenner's daughter Jennifer and her then-husband Steve Swindle broached the idea of doing her father's book. "My father's getting up there now," Jennifer said, "and his book has never been written. Somebody needs to tell his story, and you're the person who should do it. No reporter has known him better than you." At the time, she was talking about a collaboration, which I knew would be impossible. Nevertheless, I took her encouragement as tacit approval from the family to go ahead and pursue the project on my own. In late 2006, I began seeking out former Yankee employees and other close associates of Steinbrenner's, many of whom I hadn't seen or talked to in 20 years. On a few occasions, I was asked if Steinbrenner was cooperating with me on the book, to which I would invariably reply, "It's not really necessary." I was there. Unfortunately, I joined the Daily News in 1978 and had not been around the Yankees on an everyday basis during the period when Gabe Paul was running the team for Steinbrenner. This posed a problem for me. As the baseball man who helped broker the sale of the Yankees from CBS to Steinbrenner in 1973, and became the architect of the 1976-78 championship teams with his trades for Chris Chambliss, Mickey Rivers, Ed Figueroa, and Willie Randolph, along with his historic signing of Catfish Hunter, Paul was an integral character in the book. But engaging as I'd found him to be in the years after he left the Yankees to go back to Cleveland as general manager of the Indians, Paul was never very forthcoming about his relationship with Steinbrenner and his trials as president of the Bronx Zoo Yankees from 1973 to 77. He died in 1998 without ever having written his memoirs, and that was a great loss, because he was an important figure in baseball for over half a century and knew Steinbrenner better than anyone. In an attempt to learn more about Paul's relationship with Steinbrenner, I contacted his son, Gabe Paul Jr., who by 2006 had himself just ended a long executive career in baseball as the point man for the Northern Virginia group vying to relocate the Montreal Expos to Washington, D.C. Over lunch in Manhattan, Gabe Jr. confessed to having had little contact with his dad during Gabe's senior